Hello everybody, I hope you're excited for some Halloween cards. Today I'm kicking off my Halloween series using the Frightfully Sweet stamp set by My Favorite Things. So I'm going to be coloring the images using my alcohol markers. I've sort of fallen in love again with my Spectrum Noir. I will never give up my Copics, I love them way too much, but I've really been using my Spectrums and trying to come up with new color combinations, and I'm really liking how that's coming out. I find the more practice with the Spectrums, the easier it gets. So if you are new to coloring and perhaps Spectrum Noir were your first purchases for alcohol markers, don't give up. It does get easier. So for the fox, I was using my favorite color combination, which gives an orangey brownish coloring. I'm going to be using a color palette of purple, like a lime citron green, and black for all the accents. So for the purple, I'm using LV2 and LV1, and you're seeing here I am having to do the tip to tip technique just to blend those two because they're quite far away from each other in terms of their saturation and depth of color, I guess. So here I just turned the marker around. I do find sometimes with the tip to tip technique it is easier to use the chisel end just because it tends to be a bit more juicy because we use it less. So I'm just going to get his little costume colored in here. Then I'm going to move on to the bunny. I'm using BG3 and BG1. These are almost identical to the warm gray 3 and the warm gray 1 in the Copic markers. So at first I thought I was going to do a white bunny with just a little bit of the kind of warm grayish for a highlight, but in the end I really didn't like how he turned out looking. So I just went over the whole image with the BG1 at the end, and that still left its shading but gave me a cute little brown bunny. So you see here, I'm just skipping through on some of the darker colors. I've added a layer of the lightest color just to help those colors blend more once we get them all down. So for the black, I'm using IG9, IG7, and IG5. I skipped the little raccoon because he was mostly black, gray, and purple. There I was just showing you the citron kind of limey green color that I'm using, and now I'm coloring the squirrel and I'm using my Copic. So I'm using the E29, the E27, and the E25. So I gave him a coat of the E25, and then I'm going in from darkest to lightest after that. I grabbed my wrong marker there, so I had to grab the 29, just adding in some shading. And then I'll come in with the mid-tone just to pull that out a bit more. And again, finish off the image by using the lightest color, which in this case is the E25. And for his belly, I just used the BG markers so that it would match the bunny. For the little hedgehog, I used the same dark browns as the squirrel, and for his belly, I use the same colors as the fox, and then I'm just using the BG3 and BG1 for the bandages. So here's the images all colored. I did cut them out using my brother's scan and cut, and now I'm going to work on the background. So I'm going to make a Distress Oxide background panel for my scene card. I'm using Spun Sugar, Wilted Violet, and Seedless Preserves. I wanted this purple to match the color that I was using for the images. So I'm just using the Seedless Preserves very lightly around the edging and then coming back in and darkening it up with that Wilted Violet, because the Wilted Violet was the closest color to the markers that I used. But because the blending was really light on those images for the purple, the Spun Sugar gives it a nice warm soft color on the inside. So I'm doing a good coating of powder here with my embossing buddy. I didn't want anything to stick to the Distress Oxide. It can stay wet for a little while. And I'm stamping out the sentiment to have a frightfully sweet Halloween. So I stamped that out with my Versa Fine Black Onyx ink, and then I'm covering that with some clear embossing powder. I decided I wanted to add a little bit of extra something to the background of the card, so I'm just using a star stamp here. This one happens to be from the Lawn Fawn Booyah stamp set, but you could use any little star that you have in a stamp set. And I'm going to heat emboss those using some white fine detail powder here, and they really pop and come to life on this purpley pink background. So I'm using the new Spooky Fence die by Lawn Fawn. This just came out in their latest release. I cut out some black cardstock, so this is going to be the bottom part of my panel, and the fence will just give a nice background detail. So once I get that on, I'm going to adhere it to my card base, and then I'm going to put all of my little critters on the card. I just had to trim it up here. My card base was a little bit off. So I'll do that and then start laying the images onto the card. So I'm just going to have them across the front of the panel. They're so adorable, all of them together, trick-or-treating. I'm actually just going to adhere these down using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I'm not going to do any dimensionals here. I'm not going to use my 3M foam tape to pop these up, so this is going to be a very flat, easy to mail card. And Lila decided to come and check out what I was working on, and I think she was trying to see if there was a black cat on this card, because she probably thinks there should be a black cat on every Halloween card. But I digress. So I'm just gonna get these little guys into place. I wanted to make sure there was equal spacing between the images to the left and to the right, so I'm just pulling them over to the right a bit more. And that's the nice thing about wet adhesive, it gives you a little time to do that. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to use my white gel pen. I'm just going to add a little bit of detailing on the pumpkins and on the bands on the witches' hats. And then I'm going to use my black gel pen to add some dimension to the eyes and the noses. And for the little critters where I wasn't able to use pink cheeks, I just went in and added 3 dots to their cheeks. So here's the black gel pen. And this will finish off the card. I hope you're excited to see some more Halloween cards for the 2018 series. I do have other series on my channel, and I will try to remember to link the playlist below for you. So here's a close look at the card. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye!